Can you all see?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you all okay. So today's topic is tissue plasminogen activator, which is in unit 5. The last unit, you have a topic called as tissue plasminogen activator, which is an topic of utmost importance as far as you consider your semester examination and CA examination is concerned. This question may be asked in 2 marks with the definitions or 5-mark question. So tissue plasminogen activator is a question of importance, and tissue plasminogen activator is written as small t, capital P and capital A. So the T which is designated is very small t and PA will be in capital letters. Tissue plasminogen activator. Shall we go?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Tissue plasminogen activator.
Ma'am,
Yes?
presentation not visible, ma'am.
You see my presentation. எல்லாருக்கும் தெரியுதா என்னோட presentation? என்னோட பேர் 2 பேரா இருக்கும். கௌரி அப்படின்னு பேர் இருக்கும், கீழ கௌரிஸ் presenting இருக்கும். presenting பின் பண்ணுங்க, உங்களுக்கு தெரியும்.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tissue plasminogen activator, TPA. We will go. They are. Ma, யாரும் mute பண்ணுங்க பாப்போம். யாரும் mute பண்ணல? Some voices heard. Please mute. Yes. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Please tell one yes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Tissue plasminogen activator. They are fibrinolytic drugs, which means those drugs that will lyse fibrin present in blood, which means they will dissolve blood clot. Bloodla clot irundhuchu appadina and the clot odikakodiya oru drug is called as fibrinolytic drug. And of course these types of drugs are used for the treatment of heart attacks or brain strokes when there is blood clot or thrombosis in regions of your nerves. So regarding its definition, the drugs that causes lysis of already formed thrombus. So fibrinolytic drugs are those drugs that cause lysis of already formed thrombus. There are few fibrinolytic drugs which include streptokinase, aniseplase, urokinase, and of course we have tissue plasminogen activator, which is there in your syllabi. So fibrinolytic drugs includes streptokinase, aniseplase, urokinase, and of course tissue plasminogen activators. What are the different type of activators? Of course, we have 3 different types of activators at present that we use. Number 1 is the tissue plasminogen activators that you have in your syllabi. They are synthesized by endothelial cells by upstream from blockage. They are most active when it is bound to fibrin. So I repeat, tissue plasminogen activator, they are synthesized by endothelial cells, and of course they are more active when they are bound to fibrin. The next type we have is urokinase type plasminogen activator, which is written as small upa in capitals. They are synthesized by many cells, especially macrophages, and they are less susceptible to inhibition than tissue plasminogen activator. Urokinase type plasminogen activator, they are synthesized by many cells, especially macrophages, and they are less susceptible to inhibition than tissue plasminogen activator. The third one we have is bacterial derived plasminogen activators. So plasminogen activators, thrombolytic drug, a fibrinolytic drug. Of course, we have tissue plasminogen activator, urokinase type plasminogen activator, bacterial derived plasminogen activators. What is a tissue plasminogen activator, or how does it function is this slide. Tissue plasminogen activator is an enzyme that serves in the cascade of events leading to dissolution of blood clots. As I told you already, they break down blood clots. I repeat, tissue plasminogen activator is an enzyme that serves in the cascade of events leading to dissolution of blood clots. Just looking to this few picture that comes, you have a damage. That is why I call it as upstream of blockage. Damaged tissues. You will have blood clot, synthesizing tissue plasminogen activator. They activate plasminogen so that plasmin are formed, fibril breakdown takes place, and the clot is dissolved. So this is the function of tissue plasminogen activator. The damaged tissues where there is blood clot, it uses tissue plasminogen activator. The plasminogen is activated to produce plasmin. There is fibril breakdown, and of course the clot gets dissolved. The activation process can be carried out other than tissue plasminogen activator by the urokinase, which is produced or which is synthesized from the kidneys, or by streptokinase from bacteria. So tissue plasmin, the product that clots, that breakdowns clot, of course, are tissue plasminogen activator, urokinase and streptokinase. Tissue plasminogen activator from damaged tissues, urokinase from kidneys, and streptokinase from bacteria. So TPA was the first drug developed by GeneTech company. So the biotechnology company GeneTech has cloned human tissue plasminogen activator for use in treating unwanted or life-threatening blood clots. It is with the trade name, it is manufactured with the trade name Activase, which is also called as alteplase recombinant. So Activase, alteplase recombinant is the trade name of GeneTech's tissue plasminogen activator. Activase is useful in treating heart attacks and strokes when administered within 5 hours of thrombosis formation or embolism lodging in the heart or brain. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, is an agency that approves the drug for use in human beings. The FDA approved the use of Activase in the year 1987. I repeat, the biotechnology company GeneTech has cloned human tissue plasminogen activator for use in treating unwanted or life-threatening blood clots. Activase is the trade name of GeneTech TPA. Activase is useful in treating heart attacks and strokes when administered within 5 hours of thrombosis formation or embolism lodging in the heart or brain. The Food and Drug Administration approved the use of Activase in the year 1987. Production of tissue plasminogen activator using recombinant DNA technology. So scientists at GeneTech took human mRNA coding for tissue plasminogen activator from a human myeloma cell line. The mRNA was converted into complementary DNA using the enzyme reverse transcriptase. The human tissue plasminogen activator coding for cDNA was inserted into Chinese hamster ovary cell lines. Of course, we require a cell line for its growth. Of course, we require a host for its growth. So Chinese hamster ovary cell line are used for the purpose here. When grown in culture, the Chinese hamster ovarian cell lines excrete human tissue plasminogen activator into their growth medium. Activase is produced by isolating TPA from the growth medium. I repeat, scientists at GeneTech took human mRNA coding for TPA from a human myeloma cell line. The mRNA is converted to complementary DNA using the enzyme reverse transcriptase, and the phenomenon is called as reverse transcription. Human tissue plasminogen activator coding for complementary DNA was inserted into Chinese hamster ovary cell lines. When grown in culture, the CHO cells excretes human tissue plasminogen activator into their growth medium, and activase is produced by isolating TPA from the growth medium. Even though recombinant technology plays a very important role here, it is an expensive and of course a difficult process to perform. Small contamination, because all these products that are pharmaceutically generated are with human beings, for human beings, for bringing out from illness in a human being. So we are directly going to play with human beings Even though 1% of contamination is there, it will be life-threatening. So even though these processes are at hand, it is very expensive and of course difficult process. So this, of course, slide will give you the picture, how do we grow tissue plasminogen activator, or how do we grow Chinese hamster ovarian cell lines to produce what is called as tissue plasminogen activator. So you have human myeloma cell culture. You're collecting cell from the cell culture. You're extracting the RNA, that is mRNA. mRNA is not a stable form, it will get converted. So you have to convert mRNA template to a complementary DNA using the enzyme reverse transcriptase, and the phenomenon is called as reverse transcription. You have to insert the complementary DNA to vector system to Chinese hamster ovarian cells, and you have to grow the Chinese hamster ovarian cell in cell culture, collect culture medium, and you can go in for the extraction of tissue plasminogen activator. And this is the phenomenon in which you extract tissue plasminogen activator by using recombinant DNA technology, because you employ the mRNA gene to get converted to a complementary DNA, then you're going for the production of tissue plasminogen activator. A new phenomenon has emerged because of the difficulty of producing tissue plasminogen activator using rDNA technology, and the phenomenon is called as forming. Because production of tissue plasminogen activator in cell culture is a difficult and expensive process, tissue plasminogen activator is an expensive drug. And of course, to tell you, all these strokes, heart attack, and the other embolisms and all does not reach only to the rich. It also affects the poor and mediocre person. So a drug that is manufactured should always satisfy everybody's need, because production of tissue plasminogen activator in cell culture is a difficult and expensive process. TPA is an expensive drug. Tissue plasminogen activator's main competition in the thrombolytic market, of course, if you see, is streptokinase, that is produced from bacterial cells. So tissue plasminogen activators main competition in the thrombolytic or clot busting market, if you see, is streptokinase. Streptokinase, of course, costs 1/10 the price of tissue plasminogen activator and seems to do an equivalent and, of course, a good job. So streptokinase costs 1/10 the price of tissue plasminogen activator and seems to do an equivalent job. And of course, farming offers the promise of cheap production of a wide variety of proteins, including tissue plasminogen activator. Comparing to streptokinase, the farming process is cheaper. So farming offers the process of cheap production of a wide variety of proteins, including tissue plasminogen activator. I repeat, because production of tissue plasminogen activator in cell culture is a difficult and expensive process, TPA is an expensive drug. TPA's main competition in the thrombolytic market is streptokinase. Streptokinase costs 1/10 the price of tissue plasminogen activator and seems to do an equivalent job. Farming offers the promise of cheap production of a wide variety of proteins, including tissue plasminogen activator. Now we will come to what is farming. Farming is the use of recombinant domestic animals to produce protein and other bioactive compounds. In this case, in the production of tissue plasminogen activator, we use recombinant goats. So recombinant domestic animals, when it is used to produce protein, the phenomenon is called as farming. I repeat, farming is the use of recombinant domestic animals to produce proteins and other bioactive compounds. One of the most common strategies in farming involves engineering mammals to produce desired proteins in their milk. So we are not going to kill the animal to produce something. We are not going to extract its blood to produce something. Just we will use milk to isolate the proteins of importance. And one of the most common strategy is this, where you farm the engineered mammals to produce desired proteins through their milk. The strategy was first used to produce tissue plasminogen activator in the milk of goats. As I told you, in case of TPA, we use the domestic reared goats. I repeat, farming is the use of recombinant domestic animals to produce proteins and other bioactive compounds. One of the most common strategies in farming involves engineering mammals to produce desired proteins in their milk. This strategy was first used to produce tissue plasminogen activator in the milk of goats. Now, what do we do? So this slide is at most important. The first one, making of goats using recombinant technology. The first step is the construction of vector or the vector construction. So you just look into this diagram first before I add SV40. The first one, which is in blue part on the right hand side, the diagram, LA stands for long acting, TPA stands for tissue plasminogen activator, complementary DNA. So I repeat, long acting tissue plasminogen activator, complementary DNA, and of course a protein promoter to express that particular gene. And we have an simian virus 40 poly A signal, SV40 poly A signal. The protein promoter signals for expression of the gene in mammary cells as a part of milk. LATPA complementary DNA codes for a point mutated form of TPA, which is what we call as point mutation. The asparagine coding gene is converted to glutamic acid at a point amino acid 117. So it is a point muted gene which acts long, that is glycosylated differently, resulting in longer acting tissue plasminogen activator. So I repeat, LATPA complementary DNA, of course the above diagram it is blue in color, codes for a point mutated form of TPA that is glycosylated differently, resulting in longer acting tissue plasminogen activator. And SV40, simian virus 40, is a virus that provides the poly A signal telling the cells mRNA is ready for expression. So 3 regions in a vector that is constructed is a protein promoter, a gene that codes for longer acting tissue plasminogen activator, that is complementary DNA synthesized from an mRNA template, and simian virus 40 that provides poly A signal telling cells mRNA is ready for expression. So this is the gene that has to be inserted in a goat. So vector insertion is the next step. The first step, if you see, is vector construction. The next step you see is vector insertion. So you have an zygote that is removed from a goat, normal goat, which you rear domestically. The zygote will have a nucleus. Of course, we all know nucleus will have the chromosomal DNA within itself. This phenomenon that you employ for inserting a gene in mammary cells, if you see, is called as micro-injection. The technique is micro-injection. You will use a fine pipette with the help of suction pipette to hold the zygotic cell or the animal cell. So you have a micro-injector that contains the constructed vector molecule. You insert the gene. So this phenomenon is called as micro-injection, and you use a micro-injector to inject the DNA molecule inside the zygote cell. And not all the constructed vector will enter the nucleus. Few will break down and few will enter the nucleus based on the success rate. So the vector is, of course, inserted into the zygote cell. So now if you see, you have the vector molecule that contains recombinant DNA molecule, the zygote, and of course the nucleus. Most copies of the vector are broken down. A few may enter the nucleus. So next process is within the nucleus, the vector molecule And the nucleus will have chromosomal DNA. It has to undergo something called as homologous recombination, which means the vector molecule has to combine with the chromosomal DNA for exhibiting or for expressing itself. So vector is, of course, inserted into the chromosomal DNA. If you look into this picture, you have the purple color, the chromosomal DNA, and the brown color, the constructed vector molecule. And of course, you have to go into produce an recombinant goat. So you have a recombinant zygote or embryo. You are injecting it into the goat. Of course, goat, will produce milk. Milk is collected and you can go in for purification of tissue plasminogen activator. So this phenomenon is comparatively easier than producing tissue plasminogen activator using cell lines, using Chinese hamster ovarian cell lines in rDNA technology. So very recently, if you see, tissue plasminogen activator are produced using the technique called as farming. And what are the uses of tissue plasminogen activator? As I told you, they are thrombolytic drugs or fibrinolytic drugs, which is used to break down blood clots in veins and nerves. So according to it, the uses of tissue plasminogen activator finds application in treatment of acute myocardial infarction, acute thrombotic stroke, peripheral artery occlusion, pulmonary embolism, and of course deep venous thrombosis. I repeat, the uses of tissue plasminogen activator is found applicable in the treatment of acute myocardial infarction, acute thrombolytic stroke, peripheral artery occlusion, pulmonary embolism, and of course deep venous thrombosis.